Hey guys, and welcome back to Pixel Cherry Ninja's channel. Today we are having a look at a Shmup collection for the Nintendo Switch. I believe this is out for the PlayStation 4 as well, but in this video we are having a look at the Nintendo Switch version. This is RayStorm x RayCrisis HD Collection, which consists of 3 games: RayForce, RayStorm and RayCrisis. And RayStorm and RayCrisis actually have a standard definition version and a HD version. We're going to go through and have a look at all of the games in chronological order and talk a little bit about them. Now, M2 are the developers here. If you're not familiar with M2, if you've played any decent arcade port on a modern console in, I don't know, the past few years, more than likely it was M2. The guys just know what they're doing, and when they bring stuff over to modern consoles, it is just fantastic. If you've played Castlevania the Advanced Collection that was released on modern consoles, I play a lot of this stuff on the Switch because I do like handheld gaming and I like to play in front of my TV sometimes, and I guess the Switch gives me a good option. Also stuff like Virtua Racing for the Sega Ages titles, and a Shinobi game that I thought was fantastic. But they've done a whole bunch of games. But anyway, let's get into today's video and have a look at each one of the games. So guys, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, then a subscription and a like is super appreciated. Let's get into today's video. Okay, diving into the first game, RayForce. So RayForce is your traditional kind of shmup shooter. Now, one thing I like about this straight away, and all the games have this quality, do you remember the shmups that had 2 kind of levels to shoot on, or like 2 kind of terrains even? You've got an upper kind of deck and a lower deck. Now, there was games like Dragon Spirit where I didn't really like aiming the bombs up there. Now, this does it slightly different, where you've got your normal fire where you're firing on the top layer, and your bottom layer just kind of locks on, and you press your other button to fire your lasers and destroy them, and it really is a lot of fun. Now, I'm playing these games on default difficulty, which is free, which is I guess around the midway mark. This is no easy task, but it's definitely not one of the hardest ones I've played. So RayForce, the arcade game, was released in 1994, the first in the Ray Arcade series, renowned for its use of the Taito F3 system, detailed pixel art and seamless presentation of game cutscenes. A deeply engrossing game featuring the Ray series, famous lock-on laser score attack amongst others. Guys, honestly, this game is just a lot of fun. That laser mechanic is just so good. Like those tanks below there, I'm locking onto them, and a lot of those ships. So you can kind of take those ships because they're in the bottom layer. You can lock onto them before they come up. If they come up, then you shoot them with like your normal kind of projectile fires. Now, in most of the games, you've got a choice of a couple of ships where one can do up to 8 lock-ons with a laser, and it has like a different fire, and the other can do 16. But one thing about this game is the graphics. The graphics are splendid. I mean, this came out in 1994, so this is after there's been plenty of shmups around. The devs are experienced, and here we are having the first boss fight. You've got bullets coming around. My skill set isn't that great, so I'm probably gonna like lose a life here real soon. But guys, yeah, definitely like check this out. This is a good compilation for what you're getting in there. It's got 3 games, HD versions of 2 of the latter games, so effectively you've got like, well, you could say 3 games and the HD versions. I have to say, it's good they put the HD versions in, because the standard definition ones, we'll have a look at them anyway, they don't look so great on modern TV. So it's nice to have that kind of HD or the HD versions of it, unless you're intending to play your Switch on a CRT, in which case use the standard definition ones. They'll probably come out better. But yeah, let's have a look at RayStorm now. So this is RayForce. We're going to move on to RayStorm now. Okay, having a look at the second game in this series, called RayStorm, which may be the most well-known or the more popular one in here, at least before I had a look at this compilation. The one that always came to my mind, or the one that I knew, was the second one, RayStorm. Now, the second one in here, it gives you the option when you're selecting your ship to have like a manual or an auto fire mode. It's really not that difficult. It's not like there's a big advantage having auto or having manual. All auto means is it will lock on the lasers for you, and it will attack everything there. So when you're going on, it will just lock and it will fire for you. Now guys, the fun in this is actually locking on to multiple enemies and then firing your lasers. So I would recommend going manual mode, and if you can't handle manual mode and you think okay, auto is better for you, then do that. So in manual mode, in order to use your special bomb, you need to press the 2 buttons together, and in auto mode, a single button will let you fire that bomb. But honestly, part of the fun of this game is actually locking on and firing your lasers out. It just feels really good, and this is like quite a nice feature which makes this Shmup unique and gives it its own identity. Now the graphics for RayStorm are a big improvement over the other one. This is when, you know, we had like the PlayStation, the Saturn era, we had kind of like access to, I guess, 3D kind of graphics, and people wanted to show them off, and you can see them here. This is the standard definition version of it. We will have a look at the HD version of it, and you guys let me know in the comments below which one you prefer, which one you would like to play. I'm also interested in knowing if you actually played any of these games in the arcade. Were you around? Did you play a lot of these? I think I only played RayForce in the arcade, possibly. I heard of the other games, but I never played them too much. Now when you get into the boss fights over here, it just feels really good. Even though you're going up in a straight line, the way the level rotates below you, it just feels really good. It feels like you're in pursuit and you're flying around all over the place, even though it's just pretty much flying straight up. It's just the way everything moves around the screen. But let's move over to the HD version and have a look at that. Okay, so here we are with the HD version of the game, and you can see straight away on modern displays it just looks so much better. Everything just looks clear. I like my old graphics, but I like my old graphics with filters. I don't have access to a CRT at the moment, so when I do my old gaming, I use like scan lines, I use effects to kind of create that old school effect artificially, but I really do like these HD graphics. So RayStorm was released in the arcades in 1996, the second in the Ray Arcade series, a vertical shooter using 3D graphics for the first time in the series, utilizing the 3D game circuit board Taito FX1B, featuring impressive cutscenes that make the most of the 3D graphics, including daring enemy transformations and dynamic in-game camera angles. A number of features have been added, such as the powerful hyper laser and a special attack that can also be used for emergency evasions. Now over here I'm using the auto mode in this, so as soon as my ship is locking on to the enemies, the laser is just deciding to fire whenever it does. Again, personally, I think that takes the fun out of the game, but do let me know how you play it or how you intend to play it. Now, this game is priced at $34.99. That's the UK eShop price in pounds. I guess maybe in dollars it's a little bit more, like $39.99 or whatever your regional equivalent is. Now, if you're a fan of Shmups and you want a good collection of Shmups, then yeah, this will bring value to you. If not, then this might be something you want to wait for on a sale. There is a physical release available of this game as well, but honestly this is as good as Shmups come. I mean, just look how good it looks. It looks like you truly are in pursuit, and it looks fantastic in HD. I've tried playing this in handheld mode and with and on TV, and both of them are really good. I'm really going to be enjoying this compilation. It is a good shmup, and it really does create the arcade experience. And Taito, they just made some excellent games. But let's now move on to the last game in this collection, which is RayCrisis. Okay guys, here we have the third game in the series, RayCrisis. This is the standard definition version, and like I said, we'll have a look at the HD version of the same game. Now I definitely prefer playing these in HD, but it's up to you how you want to play it. Do definitely let me know in the comments what kind of visual what visuals you prefer, the standard definition or the high definition ones. So RayCrisis, this arcade game was released in 1998, the third and final in the Ray Arcade series. Utilizing the GNet system, this vertical shooter could save play data and upload in-game content with each play. The largest game in the series with 42 maps and and 3 different endings. Guys, honestly, like, yeah, this is a lot of fun. I had a blast shooting it for this video, and when I'm playing stuff for the video, I don't actually play it like I play stuff recreationally. I try and get footage that I'm going to use for the voiceover, but I do intend to actually play through this game on the Switch, and I'm glad I've got a new retro game for the Switch. Now, your scores, like a lot of the retro games, are actually uploaded to a global leaderboard, so if you really want to get competitive with this, you can see if you can actually get the best score in the world, or you can see who else has got a better score and make it your lifelong goal to try and beat that score. Again, I like this shmup. I love the mechanic of locking on with a laser. It just makes it feel good, almost makes it feel Star Warsy. You know, when you play the games and you're firing your lasers at the TIE fighters, but then you've got your rocket that locks onto everything, it just feels like that. You just kind of get that vibe, and the way the level kind of moves around, even though it is a vertical shooter and you're just shooting or you're just flying straight up, it definitely gives you more of a sense of direction, where you're kind of like floating about and going in different directions, where in all honesty you are just going up. But it's the trick of how the background and everything is removing. The graphics are good, it is awesome, but let's now move to the HD version and see how that compares. And here is RayCrisis in all its glorious HD, and it looks really good. I love the transition between like the 3D effects and going onto like a 2D plane. The bottom of the level, just the way it rotates, still makes you feel like you're flying all over the place, and it really adds to that arcade experience, because playing games like this in the arcade, they were cutting edge at the time. The time we played a lot of games in the arcade, the technology in the arcades was a lot further than your consoles were at home. It's not the case so much now, and I guess to some extent that is what may have caused the death of the arcades, but that's a discussion in and of itself for another time. But when games like these came out in the arcade, you didn't always have stuff like this at home, so it was just mind-blowing seeing stuff like this with your own eyes for yourself. But RayCrisis was released in 1998. It was actually released on the PlayStation in the year 2000, and it was called RayCrisis Series Termination. But moving back to RayStorm, the second game in the series, that was actually released for the PlayStation, the Sega Saturn, and also the Xbox 360 some years later. RayForce, the first title, was released for the Sega Saturn in 1995, also on Microsoft Windows, believe it or not, the iOS in 2012, and it was ported to the Android in 2017. Now, I'm not sure if the mobile versions of this game is available, because as we know, with mobiles, when a new OS comes in, sometimes older titles aren't supported or updated. But this game is really, really good. I love the HD version of it. It captures that vibe well. The bosses are good, the enemies are good, the way your lasers lock on is good. I can't really say anything negative about it. And on the Switch, there is no latency that I'm feeling. Like a lot of retro games, like the PGM collection, when I played that recently, that had so much latency in there, I literally tried it and I never played it again. This is something I'm going to be playing again and again and again. I don't think I'm good enough to get my high score in a high place, but hey, I'll give it a shot. And absolutely love how like the levels transition in the final game. Now, I don't have a favorite game in this. All the games are good for me. Whichever one I play, whether it's RayForce, RayStorm, or RayCrisis, they're all good. But when you get to fight a boss that flies in like a transformer flying in, and then he turns into a robot and he's got those giant swipes, you can't help but fall in love with this game. But guys, that's really it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Do let me know what you think about this game, whether you're going to pick it up, whether you played these titles in the arcade, or even one or all of them in the arcade. Always interested in your stories, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, then a subscription and a like is super appreciated. I'll see you guys around in the next video. This is Pixel Cherry Ninja out.